sudden you want to get right. All of a sudden you want to get right, Sister D. But what he said is, I continue to speak word into you, and I continue to share things with you at night, things that you're supposed to do, things when the music's down and nobody but me and you. And I share with you things to do and you don't do them. But yet you want me to continue to rain on you, and you want me to do it with my own hand. It ain't going to work. So that's what he's telling them today. That's what he's telling me. He said we have grown dull as Christians. In other words, is we got into this walk and we feel we all right here. We only have to do enough. And women can relate. Some women say, all I got to do is just do enough to get by. I don't have to be as romantic as I used to be. All I have to do is enough to get by. And men can relate to me and say, I don't have to open the door no more. I don't have to spend a lot of money now. I'm married now. I don't need to do nothing. So you can relate now. Married people say, I'm married. I don't need to do nothing no more. And then I asked the married people, are they happy in marriage? They said, no, because each of us being selfish, we just do enough to get by. And that's why you're taking that mentality into the Christian life. I want to do enough to get by because it's all about me. It ain't about God. The saddest thing in life is I can spend all day planning for the next 5 years what I'm doing in my life, and God can allow something to come in my life and disrupt everything I claim. Because it never was in the plan of God from the beginning. And how do you know that? Because if it's in the plan of God, you won't even be thinking about your plan. Your plan will be about God's plan. And God's plan will be about seeing kingdom build and seeing people grow and develop. But when it gets to your plan, I say, man, how can I focus on my plan and 10 years from now I can have cancer and nothing else matter? You follow me? Over and over again that we got to the point that we say, dull. We just want to get enough to get by. And everybody knows some dull. They can say a dull movie. Anything dull, or a dull knife. And when you got a dull knife, what happens? You say, I don't need it no more. Throw it out of the drawer. And most of the drawer. And most people say, you're not the sharpest knife in the drawer when you're dull. But let's go ahead and break it down. Go ahead and look at me and look at verse 9. Verse 9 says, but beloved, we are confident of better things concerning you. In other words, he said, I am confident that better things about to happen in your life if you just stay with me. In other words, you just can believe what I tell you. Jerome God said, you can believe what I tell you and do it with energy. I'm confident that better things are about to happen in your life. No matter how it looks, he said, I'm confident that there is something great about to happen in your life. And confident to the point, Jerome, that if I was to kick this chair, I'm confident Jerome would catch that chair. That's saying, I believe it that much that he said, I believe it that much that would happen. In other words, he also said, things that accompany salvation. When you got saved, there's a lot of things can't happen when you got saved. You just didn't get saved so you can go to heaven. In other words, you receive some blessing on earth for things, Sister D. In other words, in life, it said, you got saved so you can have a better life, that God can bless you. You got saved that you can overcome the enemy. He said there's a blessing in being saved, Brother William. He said there's some things that they're great about being saved. And he said, verse 10 says, for God is not unjust to forget your work and labor of love. In other words, he said, God is not going to forget your work and labor of love. The key word there is, are you working for him? That's the key word. He said, I will never forget your work and your labor of love if you're working for me. And your labor of love, said, is the labor you have put in because of me. In other words, we may go kill me, and we may go pick up more and more people. God considers there a labor of love. You didn't have to take your time. Someone else said, I ain't got time for this. Yet you say, I'm going to find time. I'm going to carve out an hour. And when it comes time to doing things for God, we say, it's a labor of love. The key is, are you working for him? Are you in a giving mode right now, or you're in a receiving mode from God? What he said. If you're in a giving mode, then he said, I'm working for you. I'm working, and I see your work. If you're only in a receiving mode, he doesn't see any work. He only sees you trying to take. He said, I'm not going to forget that you are working. In other words, if you're truly working for me, and I can see it, I'm not going to forget that you are working. But he has told you things that you need to do. And so before you even can get this, he said, there are some things you should do. He said, I've seen how you minister to the saints and do minister. In other words, now you got to ask yourself, are you ministering to the saints? Are you encouraging the saints? Are you ministering? Are you helping people outside? Are you focused on people? When you say I'm tired and boring, are you saying to yourself, I can go do this for God, I can go do this for God, I can go do this for God? He said, I'm watching to see if you're doing those things. If you're doing those things, he said, I would not forget to bless you. He said, I would not. But if you're making excuses, because it's not your time anyway, that's what amazing you got to understand. It's never your time. And there's no better time in life than work for God. I don't care what. Lynn and I could be on the greatest vacation in the world. It's not my time. It's no better time than God's time. In other words, if you want God to be with your time, if you're doing things that God is not with your time, then it's not good time anyway. I don't care what you're doing. It's not good time if God has not endorsed your time. Yeah, he wants you to have time for yourself and your family and do all that great stuff. But you obligated. If it's 24 hours in a day, you say, God, I got to give you back some because all of yours anyway. He said, I got to at least give you back some. He said, I got to at least get her. If that means I got to give her early and pray, I got to give her early to read, or I may come to Bible study, or I may come to, I got to give you some back. I don't have an excuse. He said, God said, that's reasonable to me give you some. To not give none, he said, it wasn't your time from the beginning. So why do I even need you? If you're going to take my time 24 hours, why do I need your earth? Why do I need you? If you're not going to give me no time back, because he created you for a reason. See, if you think you're on earth, like I tell people, for to get saved and die, you think the only reason God saved you so you can go to heaven, you might as well die now. If you live that way, you might as well die. Why else would he need you? And that's what we got to get rid of, that mentality of life, is that we got saved, now we can live, we can do what we want to do, and then we go to heaven, everything great. Because I ask any of y'all, none of your family live in hell, but every sermon I hear, everybody was great. Everybody was great. Everybody was great. But everybody gonna get examined. That's what you understand. Your heart gonna be poured out, laid out. Your resume gonna be examined, Jerome. Your resume gonna be examined. And you can't lie on this resume because God knows everything you do. See, your resume gonna get examined. See, when you do things for God, you're writing your resume. And it's up to him to determine whether you love him or not, determine whether you were saved or not. Because you can speak, I'm saved. But you have to live